Violent civil war has been a reality for many South Sudanese citizens for decades. In the mid-1980s, the conflict started to turn, but the South Sudanese People Liberation Army fought against the North Sudanese Army. Southern Sudanese citizens fled to refugee camps to save their lives. Many refugees were eventually resettled in the United States. Omaha, Nebraska eventually became the largest resettlement location in the United States. Refugees came to Omaha in search of a better life. Many refugees feel that though this journey has been rough, it is one that is well worth it. For the sake of their families, they are hopeful that Omaha will someday feel like home. When and why did you leave Sudan?
I left Sudan back in 1991. I left Sudan because there was a civil war in the country.
Hundreds and thousands of Sudanese fled Sudan because of the civil war to live in a refugee camp in neighboring countries. Life in a refugee camp is unimaginable for many Americans.
Explain your experience in a refugee camp.
Yeah, the life in a refugee camp is very difficult. You cannot even imagine, because in refugee camps, you consider like a jail town, because you have no free time to go anywhere you want to go. So people stay there. If you want to go to city, you have to have permission from camp coordinators.
Oh, my experience in refugee camp. Oh, that is a hard time. We were supposed to leave in 1994, but I was pregnant with my son Emmanuel. I have to have the baby inside that tent without. There's no midwife. There's no hospital. I just had a baby in that tent. And when you cook the food, you just boil it like that. Then all the sand will come into the food. You have to eat it. You have nothing. You have to eat it with all this sand all inside it. You just have to eat it to survive. So you are just surviving. There's no living there. You're just surviving. So it's a hard experience being in a camp.
Many refugees left the camps for places like America. Coming to America could be scary for some. Many worry about all the new, impossible, frightening people, cultures, and environment. However, looking back, some refugees chuckle about their first few days here.
I did not come to Omaha direct. My first home was Fargo, North Dakota. I came in September, and imagine coming from the hot place to the blizzard time. So it was my first time to see the snow. I didn't know. I opened the window in the morning and I saw it's all white. Then I was wondering, is it salt? Is it sugar? What is all this? Really horrible, terrible experience for me when I got to the United States.
St. Richard's Church in Omaha was selected as one of the polling sites for the 2011 South Sudanese independence vote. Despite assimilating to their new home, the Sudanese in America still had great concern about political rights and life back in Sudan. Civil war and violence were still raging on in Sudan. South Sudan wanted to gain independence and become their own nation. South Sudan chose to hold a worldwide vote to secede from the North. Omaha, Nebraska was chosen as one of the polling sites because of the already established Sudanese community. Over 3,000 people traveled from different states to Omaha, Nebraska to participate in the vote. In July 2011, the election result decided that South Sudan would become an independent country. Why do South Sudanese refugees come to Omaha?
We come to Omaha because here living is cheap, it's a better living, and housing also is affordable. And we have a lot of people, friends, relatives, so people help each other. And the Omahans are very nice people. You can get a job even though you don't speak English.
It's easier for South Sudanese refugees to adapt to Omaha with the help from groups like the Southern Sudan Community Association. Sudanese culture is very different from American culture and is difficult to understand. Oftentimes, Sudanese need to learn how to act in America. Daily things like dressing in new clothes and greeting people are even a challenge. The Community Association offers language classes and teaches job skills so refugees can get entry-level jobs such as house cleaning and meat packing. The association also prepares refugees apartments and teaches them how to use and maintain their property. Even with the help of the association, adapting to American culture is difficult, especially for older Sudanese refugees, and can sometimes create generational gaps in the population.
What advice would you give to the South Sudanese youth growing up in Omaha?
My advice to them is to focus on their educations, be away from violence, so focus on their interests in these countries.
We will advise our youth so that they can get education and they can be able to go back home and help other people who are there and help their nation and make their nation be like United States.
Despite the challenges of adapting to America, Sudanese refugees are very thankful and happy to be in America and to be a part of the Omaha community.